So the tariff revenues are amazing, right? $700 billion a year. That's just net new money the government never had before. So you take that every year for 10 years, that's $7 trillion. And then what they're not counting is the way the president is smashing open these markets. You got every market, right? Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam, you name the deal he does, and he opens that market. That's going to have export growth, right? Never before has our ag and our industrials actually had access to these markets. You know, we're meeting later today with the European Union. You know, the president's goal, get those markets open for Americans to export to them. And that growth is going to pay for everything. It makes Americans richer. And, of course, our tax revenues go up the right way by Americans making more money by winning in business.
So Europe is very closed. We don't sell cars into Europe. We don't sell essentially agriculture of any great degree. They want to have their farmers do it, and they want to have their car companies do it. I'm not saying anything that nobody knows. We have a rough situation. If we want to sell cars in Europe, we're not allowed to. And as you know, they sell millions and millions of cars, Mercedes, BMW, so many different, Volkswagen, so many different cars, and so many millions of cars. I would imagine number one, I didn't look at that, but I would imagine number one by far, more so than even Japan. Japan sells a lot of cars too.
What's going on, everyone? It's House King here today. We're going to talk about the EU, the EU trade deal, which many experts are starting to call the most valuable deal that Trump has done so far. And one of the reasons why they're saying that is because America will impose a 50% tariff on the EU export, and the European Union will not impose any tariffs on the American imports. The media, this is the media right now, guys. The media is thinking, Democrats are thinking, how can we spin this in a negative light? The Democrats and the media are trying to explain to Americans how imposing a 50% tariff on the EU exports and the EU imposing a zero tariff on American exports is a loss for Donald Trump and America. And experts are wrong yet again. Like Ludwig here is bragging about an expected $700 billion tariff revenue. Where are the experts now? They're wondering if Trump had naked pictures of on their leaning or something, because that deal is the most one-sided deal in history. The EU got nothing. They don't even know how this happened to them. Because here's one of the reasons why the EU got nothing. Trump already laid out years of their one-sided trade agreement, right? Oh, look, you tariff us, but we don't tariff you. And look what you was able to do in our industry, which is why I led with that intro of the clip of Donald Trump explaining, yeah, they closed off all their markets, they did all this. So maybe from a historical sense, he's saying, hey, look, we did this for you. Now it's your turn. Now it's time for you to reciprocate. They still have some reciprocal tariffs. Both of them are doing 15% on each other. But that's way lower than what they had it before. I think it's like 25%. Like they had tariffs on us at 25%. So now we're doing a reciprocal one at 15%. And we have maybe a certain segment. I don't know. But many people are praising this as a good thing. And it's becoming harder and harder for me to believe the media. Because if they come out and say, oh, tariffs increase costs, all we have to do is make the same argument about taxes. Why taxes don't create cost increases? Oh, well, the government, the corporations will get punished for doing that. Same with countries. And one of the reasons why I think the United States was able to get away with this deal is because of how reliant the EU is to trade with America. Like, y'all don't want to admit it, but look at our country. If you compare the EU versus the United States of America, there's more people in the United States of America by far. We have one of the largest consumer countries, second to China. China has like 1 billion people, allegedly. We have 490 million people. That's a big market. And if Trump decides, okay, I'm going to increase your cost to doing business with the second largest market in the world, that's going to hurt a lot more than taking a 15% one-sided trade deal. Period. It's practical logic. And I think this is one of the reasons why I voted for Trump, bro. I'm not here to worship the guy. I'm not here to look up to the guy. I look at outcomes. Hey, what outcomes did this guy give me? Oh, based on his first terms, he was able to successfully negotiate deals. He did this for a living. Might as well put him in a position where we can use that skill for the interests of the American people. And this is one of the reasons why in my video before this one, I'm talking about the Democratic Party and their unpopularity, Democrats offer Americans nothing but platitudes and word salad. That is the brand of the Democratic Party right now in 2025. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know if you agree. I think a lot of people agree with me on that. Only 28% of Americans see the Democratic Party in a favorable light. This is why. Donald Trump offers us something. Donald Trump could be like, you may not like my attitude. You may not like my past. You may not like what I do. You may not even like how I act and talk. But you're going to like these outcomes I'm giving you. This is why I can deliver for you. And America's like, I like what you're saying, Donald Trump. I'll put you in power. What Democrats are offering. Oh, look how he speaks. He talks so brash. He's so rash. Oh, he's so insensitive. Oh, my God. We can't elect somebody for the soul of this nation. That's what Democrats are giving you. Useless platitudes. And they deliver nothing. Everywhere where Democrats have power, they deliver bad results. Their city seems to be not managed effectively. Let's give them some grace here. Not managed effectively. They run over budget for what? For nothing. Oh, we give all these programs to our citizens and all this stuff, but you're over budget. Now you got to tax the same American people that put you in power to make up for your mismanagement of funds, for your inefficiency of managing resources. And this is what Democrats have not getting that idea yet. But, I digress. I want to play this clip of this content creator talking about the EU deal and how valuable it is in the eyes of the American people.
Bloomberg is reporting that Trump's new deal with the EU is so surprisingly good that it's being called the most valuable deal the US has ever made. The European Union finally caved to nearly all of Trump's demands after months of negotiations, where Trump warned them of tariffs as high as 30 to 50% if a formal accord wasn't finalized by August 1st. And just days before the deadline, the two reached an incredible deal that's even better than the recent US-Japan agreement. This deal contains two massive wins for the United States. First, the EU will invest $600 billion into America, creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs, and buy nearly $1 trillion worth of energy and military defense equipment. Second, the EU will have to accept a baseline 15% reciprocal tariff on all their exports to the US, and the deal specifies that they will have to open up every single one of their countries to trade with the US at a 0% tariff rate, and so it's not clear if the Europeans got anything out of America.
And before I go into the clip, I wanted to kind of highlight this comment here that I find it resonates with a lot of what I said in this video. Sure, optimal tariff in theory is probably around 15 to 20%, but that will never work in practice because other countries will retaliate and erode the benefit from the tariffs. Most economists, wrong. You owe an apology to POTUS. And I think this is what the sentiment that a lot of American people are saying, because all we see is it's like two friends you have. One friend that makes a statement, another friend makes another statement. And then given 5 months, you find out one of your friends was more right than the other friend. So now this friend that usually says stuff and usually gets it wrong is now telling you, oh yeah, tariffs are going to do this, tariffs are going to do that. And your friend that has a good track record says, no, tariffs are not going to do that. Who are you going to trust? Trump has become that friend where he says something, you're more likely to trust him than the other guy. And the media has become the other guy. Wrong. You have to apologize to POTUS again. Another failure for elite consensus. And the problem I have with the elite consensus is that a lot of this elite consensus is merely based on emotional reasons because they don't like Donald Trump. That is effectively what Democrats' resistance, right, has become. It's purely out of a disdain for Trump. And the narrative is amongst the American people, and this is why Democrats have such a low approval rating with the American people, is that Democrats hate Donald Trump more than they love America. This is a good win for America. You should be like, good-ish, Trump. But you're not doing that, Democrats. You're not applying this at all. Right now, y'all in the background trying to think about how you can phrase this as a wrong. Oh, look how we treated our allies. Oh, look at this one-sided deal. How could we treat our allies this way? That's probably going to be their attack line on this, painting this as a bad thing. But I think Americans don't care. But enough of my rambling. I think I talked enough on this video. Let's get into this discussion between him and the EU leader.
European Union is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy. $750 billion worth of energy. They are going to agree to invest into the United States $600 billion more than they're investing already. So they're investing, you know what that amount of money is. It's very substantial, but they're going to invest an additional $600 billion. they're agreeing to open up their countries to trade at zero tariff. So that's a very big factor. Opening up their countries, all of the countries will be opened up to trade with the United States at zero tariff. And they're agreeing to purchase a vast amount of military equipment. We don't know what that number is, but it's the good news is we make the best military equipment in the world, so sort of you have to do that. I mean, until somebody tops us, which is not going to happen. We're way ahead of every other country in terms of the quality of the military equipment. You saw that recently in Iran, and you see that, unfortunately, you see that often for all the wrong reasons, right? So those things are 750 billion, 600 billion, opening up the country. We are agreeing that the tariff straight across for automobiles and everything else will be a straight across tariff of 15%. So we have a tariff of 15%. We have the opening up of all of the European countries, which I think I could say were essentially closed. I mean, you weren't exactly taking our autos, you weren't exactly taking our agriculture, and then you would have smaller things, but for the most part, it was closed. And now it's open.
And this is the difference. This is why I said, like, Trump's bet, right? When Elon Musk brought his criticisms about the bill, saying that, oh, look, this will cost an increase in $5 trillion or more, trillions and trillions of dollars more than what was cut. I'm like, yeah, but Trump's making an economic bet that he will be able to generate a lot more tax revenue when there's more economic growth. And that was the bet Donald Trump was making. And this deal helps him with that bet. And I think this is one of the reasons why I gave my trust to Trump. I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust Trump on this one, because I think I agree with his bet that he's going to make deals that's going to help incentivize economic growth in the United States of America. So that way he can generate way more tax revenue so he can make up for the deficit that he's supposedly creating with his big, beautiful bill. And this is like, things happen in steps. And I think that sometimes impatience get like ahead of us sometimes, that we expect everything to happen tomorrow. But I think this is a good step in the right direction to help counteract all the negatives that could happen with the one big, beautiful bill, right? And I think Donald Trump is actually doing his damnness, really. And if trade deals keep coming up like this, shoot, 2026 is about to be crazy, in my estimation. Let me know yours in the comment section. Let's continue.
It's open for our companies to go in and do a good job with it. I think you'll like them. I think you'll like it. And we will, very importantly, they'll be investing a lot of money, but the military is a big number, but that's one number we're not determining. It's going to be whatever it is, but they're going to be purchasing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of military equipment. They're very important. They're going to purchase $750 billion worth of energy. So that's going to be great. And $600 billion worth of investments into the United States over and above what they have. So, and I think that basically concludes the deal. I mean, those are the main factors. I don't think there are too many other factors, other than we're going to get along great. And we have a great relationship now with NATO, which is largely the same. I mean, not exactly, but pretty close, right? Largely. And with NATO, as you know, they're going up to 5% from 2%. And the relationship is very strong with NATO.
He made it practical and reasonable for the United States to be aligned with them. No longer is the United States just getting one-sided. And this is the funny part is, I think the only angle that these economists will have is that they'll talk about how unsatisfied the European Union could be over the years with this deal. But they don't recognize how the EU and other countries like NATO and all this stuff has taken advantage of the United States of America. And I talked about this sentiment like a lot to my foreign viewers that's outside of the United States. I talk about how a lot of Americans, the number one reason Trump got into office is because many Americans felt like that we were being taken advantage by everyone and their moms, from Europe to the Democratic Party. We felt like we were being taken advantage of by everybody. And we're like, nah, somebody got to come in here and stop all this. And Trump represented that person. Democrats may not like it, but this is the reality. This is the political reality. Democrats have taken advantage of us at the behalf of globalists. And we use that euphemism in U.S. to pretty much signify foreign actors, foreign countries. Oh, we pay what? You telling us we pay 2 times more on drug prices and all that stuff from pharmaceutical companies, even though most of the drugs are developed here and everyone else get it cheaper? Make that make sense. So we're subsidizing everyone else's cheap medical costs. Oh my God, healthcare is so much better in Europe. But look at all the government money that America finances into the EU. Look at the tariff deals that we used to accept with previous presidents that was allowed that funded Europe to allow them to be able to do all that good healthcare at cheap cost. The world doesn't want to recognize that a lot of their activities, a lot of their lifestyle is subsidized by their U.S. foreign money, either through tariffs, either through foreign aid, right? We have to work, Americans work like 48 hours on average compared to the EU, 36 maybe, 32, right? They brag about, oh, we got 4-day work weeks and all this stuff, but we have to work, some Americans, 7 days out of the week. Our labor being taxed. And then just for something to go wrong, and then all our tax dollars go sent to you. But domestically, there's no domestic focus. Donald Trump was the first president in a long time to say, hey, we need to focus on our domestic issues, and that is priority over what's going on in the foreign. And I think this deal represents purely the attitudes and the focus that Americans want. We want good outcomes for us. We want to prioritize ourselves for a change. And that's what Donald Trump represents. But, I digress. I think, I made my sentiments known. And this is what Canada got. Canada's going to get a similar deal to this because Canada relies more on us than we rely on them. And the tariffs has shown to hurt Canada way more than it hurt us. You throw our wine, you throw our beer. Oh, we don't want American beer. We don't want American wine. Okay. You're like this to us. Like you only contribute like 5%. Like we consume like 5% of your goods. How much of your goods you import in our country? 25%. We're responsible for, we have 25% impact on your economy to the point where now there's recession fears going on in Canada. How the narrative switched up, huh? A couple months ago, people were like, oh, Trump recession is coming, Canada's going to win this one. And now it's like a reverse narrative. Canada now has recession fears. Now, Canada's steel companies, energy companies are announcing massive layoffs. What happened? I thought Canada was strong. No, Canada's dependent. And Donald Trump talked about this. If you have to rip us off just to stay, you might as well become the 51st state. That's what Trump said. It wasn't a joke. It was a figure of speech outlining how disproportionate the deal with Canada was for the United States. And now that America wants to be treated fairly, it's inconvenient for all the other countries in the world, but this is what we have to do because we've been taking advantage for far too long. And that's a sentiment that if EU and all these people who claim to be our allies want to truly represent themselves as our allies, they have to understand that we gave you guys a lot of grace. And now that grace is done. We should be reciprocal now. Whatever you tariff us, we're going to tariff you. And you call that unfair? Make it make sense. Americans are not going to buy this. And this is one of the reasons why Democrats are solely unpopular. The only party that Europe seems to like is the Democratic Party. But there's a reason why the Democratic Party is not popular with the very people that's supposed to put them in power. Because they allow you guys, everyone, the foreign actors, and it's not your fault, guys. I mean, if we was in your position, we'll do the same thing. I'll be honest. But then don't expect the gravy train to go on forever. And I think that is the sentiment that Americans are, and me personally, is trying to express in this video. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. I hope you guys understand where I'm going with this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me on an algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.